Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a focused set of sources here, all pointing towards mastering core JavaScript concepts. We're talking variables, types, collections. Looks like it's a solid 23% of that Salesforce JavaScript Developer I exam.
That's right. And our mission today in this deep dive is really hitting those three fundamental areas where developers often get tripped up:
What are those again?
variable scope, type coercion, and managing collections like arrays and objects. Get these down and you avoid a lot of common bugs.
Makes sense.
You
Let's
know?
jump into that first one then, the scope war. Starting with, well, the old way, var. Why all the fuss? Why did we even need let and const?
Yeah, var had some quirks. The biggest trap is that it's function scoped. It doesn't really care about blocks like if statements or for loops, only functions.
So it just ignores the curly braces unless it's a function.
Pretty much. And then there's hoisting. Now, hoisting itself isn't unique to var, but with var, when the declaration gets moved up, it's initialized with undefined.
Ah, so if you use it before you formally declare it in your code,
You don't get an error, you just get undefined, which can lead to some really subtle, hard-to-find bugs. Silent failures, you know?
right, the worst kind. So let and const are also hoisted. The sources say that clearly. How do they dodge that undefined bullet?
Okay, two key things. Block scope and the temporal dead zone, or TDZ. Let and const respect block scope. They're consigned by those curly braces.
Okay.
And when they're hoisted, they enter this TDZ. They exist, but they aren't initialized at all, not even to undefined.
So if you try to access them early,
Bam, you get a reference error, loud and clear. It stops you right there, preventing that silent bug. It's like a safety net.
much safer. Now, about const. There's a big exam trick here, right? People think it means totally unchangeable.
Exactly. That's the #1 misunderstanding. Const prevents reassignment. You cannot make the variable point to something completely new.
So if I have const my object as A1, I can't then say my object B2.
Correct. That would throw an error. You're trying to reassign my object.
But, and this is the tricky part, I guess, I can change what's inside that object.
Yeah.
Like my objector equals 99.
Yes, absolutely. Const does not make the value immutable. It doesn't prevent mutation of the object's properties or, say, an array's elements.
So const my array equals 1, 2, and then my array.push3 is perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine. You didn't reassign my array, you just mutated the array it points to. Nailing that difference reassignment versus mutation is critical.
Got it. Okay, moving from variable scope to, well, value integrity, coercion corner, as you called it. This sounds like where JavaScript gets a bit wild with math and logic.
Uh-huh. Especially with the plus operator. Rule #1, it's the string dominator. If either side of the plus is a string, JavaScript just gives up on math and concatenates everything into a string.
And it goes left to right. That's the...
Crucial. That's why the classic example 1 + 2 + 3 trips people up.
Right, you expect 6, maybe. But 1 + 2 happens first, gives you the number 3.
Then it sees 3 + 3. Oops, there's a string.
So it converts the number 3 to the string 3 and sticks them together. Result, the string 33.
Exactly. It's the ultimate bait and switch if you're not expecting it.
So frustrating when that happens in your code. But other operators are safer, like minus or multiply.
Yeah, thankfully. Operators like, and %, they are much more predictable. They'll generally try to convert operands to numbers. So 10-5 reliably gives you the number 5.
Okay, that's a relief. We also need to talk about truthy and falsy values for logical operations.
Definitely. Just remember the falsy 6, false, 0, empty string, null, undefined, and nan. Anything else in JavaScript evaluates to true in a Boolean context.
Everything else is truthy. And that directly impacts short-circuiting logic with and D, doesn't it?
It does. And the key here is that and don't always return true or false. They return one of the actual operand values.
How does that work?
Well, and looks for the first falsy value. If it finds one, it returns it and stops. If all values are truthy, it returns the last truthy value.
So texted and 0 would return.
It hits 0, which is falsy, so it returns 0. It does the opposite. It looks for the first truthy value. If it finds one, it returns it and stops. If all values are falsy, it returns the last falsy value.
Ah, so 0 fallback would return fallback.
No.
Because that's the first truthy thing it sees.
Precisely. This is super useful for setting default values. You see it all the time.
Okay, last core area.
Okay.
Collections and serialization. What's the main gotcha with arrays and objects here?
It boils down to reference types. When you assign an array or object to a new variable, you're not making a copy.
You're just pointing another signpost to the same thing in memory.
Exactly. It's a shared reference. So if you change the array using the new variable...
You're also changing the original one because it's the same array.
Right. Big trap for beginners.
Yeah.
Leads to unexpected side effects if you're not careful.
Which is why, for actually saving data or setting it somewhere, you need something more solid.
That's where JSON comes in. You absolutely need to be comfortable with JSON.stringify to turn your objects or arrays into a safe, transferable string format.
And JSON.parse to turn that string back into a usable JavaScript object or array when you receive it or read it back. Essential tools.
Absolutely essential.
Okay, so let's recap the absolute must drills from this deep dive for that 23% of the exam.
Number 1, understand constant deeply the difference between blocking reassignment and allowing mutation.
Right. Number 2, beware the plus operator. Remember left to right evaluation and how it flips to string concatenation.
And number 3, master short-circuit logic by knowing those 6 falsy values inside and out.
Great summary. And thinking ahead, how does nailing this foundation help with what's next?
Well, this stuff, especially scope, is the bedrock for understanding the next huge chunk of the exam. Another 25%, actually. We're talking this keyword, which is notoriously confusing, plus prototypes and modern ES6 classes.
So understanding where a variable lives directly impacts understanding context, like this.
Exactly. How can you reliably know what this refers to if you're shaky on how scope even works? So mastering scope now makes tackling this much, much easier down the road. Something for you to think about as you continue studying.